Income Tax Act also. Then your due date is 30th September. For companies, it's compulsorily 30th September, and if you are under the transfer pricing provision, then 30th November.
If you are under what?
Say, you cannot carry forward your losses. Startups, new companies who have incurred losses in the initial years, they should actually file their income tax return more. They are required to file irrespective of their losses, and we say to many of our clients that if you have made profits, you can file after 30th September, but if you have made losses, you should file, because today you are small, you have incurred losses. Next year when you will have profit, you will be able to set off. But the problem is that in our profession, the problem is that people do not create awareness. A chartered accountant would never tell you that you should also file your income tax return. I have incorporated your company. Now I should tell you that these are the standard provisions, these are standard compliances which you should do. But we see that many startups, after 2 years, 3 years of the incorporation, when they are now out of that prototype mode and they want to upscale their product, then they want all the compliances to be in order.
See, as a startup, suppose I'm developing a product. So right now there is no scope of any revenue. I'm only investing in the product. 1 year has passed, 2 years have passed. So since I don't have a revenue model right now, so basically what is my profit, what is my loss? Whatever I'm spending is an investment for me. So how do I account for that?
So if that is your investment, if you treat that as an investment or intangible which you are creating, then that would go to your balance sheet. That would not hit your P&L. But there are High Court rulings which says that software expenses has to be debited to P&L only. There are High Court rulings which say that. See, irrespective of revenue, if you do not have a P&L, if you do not have any expenses, even then you need to file your income tax return. There would be nil P&L and you just need to file your balance sheet. Return. There is a prosecution provision also. You would be knowing in this election season, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu was asked to appear before the High Court for evasion of taxes. Yeah, so there is a provision of prosecution also now under the income tax for non-filing of income tax return. And I want this session to be more interactive. I don't know. I need more questions. Please. Otherwise, it will just be a monologue. So, anything on income tax return filing?
Please specify about MAT.
VAT.
MAT, minimum alternate tax.
See,
When is it applicable?
so it's applicable when your your normal income is less than your book profit. So suppose the Income Tax Act provision clearly says that you should pay at least 18.5% of your book profit as taxes in case your normal tax is less than that. So you need to, so there are two ways to calculate your tax computation. One is for normal provision under the income tax, one is for book profit. If your book profit is less than your normal tax computation tax, then that's the amount you need to pay. Otherwise you need to pay as per the MAT. And you can take forward that credit and you can adjust with future if your future income under the normal provision is more than the MAT.
See, I had some carry forward losses, but still I made some profit this last year. So I had to pay some taxes. I couldn't set it off against the carry forward losses.
MAT you cannot carry forward losses. Normal tax you can carry forward.
See, under MAT you can only set off with your normal profits. You cannot set off with your losses.
Okay. I was just trying to follow up on the question about carry forward losses.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can just send me your query.
Okay.
So I can.
I think the question what you were saying is a very interesting question. Suppose I have incurred a loss this year and I have carried forward my loss. Next year I have made a profit.
So have you paid your taxes under MAT when you have incurred
So my
losses?
point is,
You have
No, I
not.
didn't pay.
So there is no MAT concept here. Yeah.
So the point is like I made a profit next year. So there's a provision for you need to minimum pay on the minimum alternative tax has to be paid. So can I first adjust my last year's loss?
So but then is there a difference between your MAT, your book profit and your normal profit? Is there a difference?
Actually, I don't know the details, but I just
There has
brought
to
back my carry
There
forward.
has to be.
I'm just
Otherwise,
asking.
how when you get the MAT credit?
No,
The
he's
difference.
the-
What the basic question is about that, suppose his PNL is 10 lakh and its book profit is come around near about 5 lakh and he wants to adjust the last year carry forward loss to this year
Right.
with the MAT book profit.
See,
But that can't
book
be.
profit you cannot do it. But what my question was that since was there a MAT difference in your PNL?
Maybe I'll write to you separately because I don't want to consume too much time. But
I also have a question on MAT, but very quickly. I have got a MAT balance of say 5 lakhs. Now in this year, I am having a profit and my tax is coming to 2 lakhs. So what I have been told is that you cannot adjust this 2 lakhs against the MAT. You still have to pay the MAT for this year and only the balance can be adjusted against the MAT. Is it this way or I have got the
So basically 18.5% is the minimum which you have to pay. So if there is an access to that, that can only
That only can be-
that can only be adjusted.
That means you can only adjust about 11% or
Yeah.
11.5%.
If the revenue is less than 1 crore, then tax audit is not compulsory.
No.
I think there's also provision that you can pay without a tax audit of 8%.
That is for 44 AD
So
presumptive
there is a
income.
provision for 44 AD which is called presumptive taxation, wherein if
If
your
you show less
total
than
revenue-
8% of your revenue, then
if
tax-
your you can say then I will speak.
no, that's what I'm doing.
No, you can explain then I will speak. You can explain him. then
No,
I-
you
then I
carry
will-
on. You carry on.
So if your total profit is less than 8%, then you have to justify that with a tax audit. So even if your revenue is less than 1 lakh, 1 CR, and your profit is less than 8%, suppose genuinely your profit is less than 8%. So you have to have a tax audit. But that is not mandatory for LLP, firm and companies. That is mandatory only for individuals. And that is also not applicable for professionals. Professionals which come under the definition of 44AA, like lawyers, chartered accountants, engineers, architects. So the net thing is that if your revenue is less than 1 CR and you want to say that your profit is less than 8%, then you have to have tax audit to prove that. The department says that you cannot do that. This provision was brought in wherein there were many small businesses which never used to let their revenue cross the threshold limit of tax audit, and they always used to show revenue 1% or 2%, they used to survive. Because each year all accounts cannot be scrutinized. So the government brought in this provision wherein, okay, if your revenue profit is less than 8% and it's genuinely less than 8%, it may be, you may have a rough patch. So you have to have a tax audit by a chartered accountant and prove it that actually your profit is less than 8%. But that is not applicable to companies. Otherwise, above 1 CR, you will be applicable for tax audit also.
In that case, what will be the filing return date? Will be 30th September or
30th
31st
September,
July?
because then that return will be under 44 AD and not under the normal provision of 139(1).
So you can then calculate as per 8% and then pay.
No. So you say that my profit is only 1%, and you get your books of accounts audited by a chartered accountant.
And
For the definition of professionals in which you mentioned engineers, in India the concept of consultants has not picked up so much. So if a software engineer starts his consultancy and he's a sole guy like a doctor or a lawyer, and then how does it work in?
So what our call is, if you are a freelancer and your revenue is only from your consultancy business, then we think that you are under the professional thing. But there are many professionals who also have revenue from ad revenue, Google ads, then it will not be professional income. See, the definition of professionals is when you are earning something out of your professional knowledge. Now, Google ad cannot be professional income. It's an ad revenue.
No, but purely on the basis of consultancy. You are telling
Then-
them what you have to
then-
invest
then-
in, what
then
you
you
should
will be a
do,
professional.
how you should get your business up and running on tech.
Suppose a
That's-
digital marketing expert, he is a consultant. So that will be
Under the provisions of
professional.
the professional.
So there the tax audit limit is 25 lakh rupees, not once a year. So if you cross 25 lakh rupees, you need to get a business. For individuals, you start paying from the second quarter. For corporates, you have to pay from the first quarter itself. So how do you calculate your advance tax calculation if you do not maintain your books of accounts? And there are various things. For example, in the last quarter, you suddenly have an income which was not forecasted. So what do? As of now, there is only provision with regard to capital gain. If there is a capital gain which was not estimated, or you have not presumed that there will be a capital gain income, because the problem with advance tax provisions is that even though the main income has come in the last quarter, the interest would be from the first quarter itself. So that's not good in a sense, because you can never predict what you have in the last quarter, what revenue you will have in the last quarter. So I think the government should also bring in more provisions to safeguard that leukemia. As of now, there is only capital gain, wherein if there is a capital gain, then you can actually adjust that and you can pay less advance tax. So advance tax is basically when your total tax liability, after reducing your TDS, is more than 10,000 rupees. And last year I think they have exempted senior citizens from advance tax provisions, so they are not required to pay advance tax now. Who don't have
PGPP income.
Who do not have a PGPP income. So that's good in a sense.
So apart from senior citizen, everybody else is
Is required to pay advance tax if your tax liability is above 10,000 rupees after you reduce your TDS
per annum.
per annum.
And perhaps also those SC who are exempted scheme, presumptive tax scheme, who are calling it a presumptive tax scheme.
So that's more of a theoretical concept, because you would take a call whether you would file your income tax return under presumptive only in the month of March. Not even the month of March when you are filing your income tax return. I have seen no one would take a call in the month of April or May that this year I would file my income under presumptive. You don't know that. How can you forecast today that your profit will be less than 8% in March? So there are various provisions under the Act which are just they are not used.
Suppose I at the beginning of the year, maybe when I'm paying my first advance tax, I assume I'm going to earn 1 lakh rupees this year. I'm going to pay tax of 1 lakh rupees this year. So based on that, I have paid 15,000 rupees in the month of June. In the next quarter, I'm feeling, I'm not moving toward that 1 lakh rupee tax. And instead of paying another 30,000 next month, I only pay another 15,000. So will the department take it negatively that since I paid 15 in the first quarter and not paying 30 in the next quarter, will that be taken negatively by the department?
See, as per law, they should not. But I have seen assessing officers sending them list of SSCs to their chartered accountant that ये आपका list of chartered, ये आपका SSC इनको बोले advance tax देने के लिए. They do not even check that ये SSC इन्होंने advance tax दिया है कि नहीं दिया. They just need to complete their target. But technically, you would be able to take a call whether you should pay advance tax or not. And if you think that you should not pay advance tax, maximum you have to pay interest. That's the reason there is no penalty for non-payment of advance tax. There is only interest. But because it is not contravention of any law. It's your call because department cannot teach you how to do business. In India they try to, but they cannot. So you have to take a call whether you should pay advance tax, what amount of advance tax you should pay, and if there is a shortfall, then you should be ready to pay the interest. And they cannot force you. I have seen situations wherein department would call you. I have seen department calling SSCs that आपका advance tax payment नहीं हुआ अभी तक. But they
Especially for high volume.
yeah, but they cannot force you.
They gave us a notice under section 210 for paying the advance. So what are the
provision-
remedies
as-
for that?
As I said, there are provisions for everything under
Is
the
it
income tax.
mandatory to give the advance tax if I receive the notice under
It's not
section
mandatory.
210?
You can reply that considering my business case, I don't think that I should pay advance tax. And
But in law, nowhere it is written that is not mandatory. But when I am talking to the assessing officer, they said either you file the appeal to the ITAT or you have to pay the tax.
I appeal ITAT against what?
Notice.
You cannot file appeal under the notice. You have to file appeal only against the order. How can you file a appeal under against notice?
That's what I am saying. He asking me that you file against the appeal against the notice.
Ask him, pass an order. I cannot file appeal
Only I
against
can
you.
writ petition in High Court for that notice.
See, those are not practical things. Would you go for a writ petition for advance tax notice to High Court?
If I give, he give me a notice of 5 lakhs,
So that,
I don't think so that my tax will be 5 lakhs.
no, so you can just reply in one page saying that considering my business scenario, I don't think that my liability will be 5 lakh rupees. I would pay advance tax as per the law as and when required. Thank you. Yours sincerely, Jo Bina Meri Chintu. He cannot reply to that thing because legally he cannot force you to pay advance tax. That's the reason I'm again saying there is no penalty for non-payment of advance tax. There is only interest. And you can appeal only against the order, not notice. There is one interesting thing which I thought that I will discuss under TDS, but how many of you would have got this 234E?
Don't remember the exact
So
section.
for late filing of TDS return, so what have you done?
We have paid that amount.
I don't know if there is a writ petition in Calcutta High Court, but Kerala High Court, Rajasthan High Court, Karnataka High Court have stayed it.
Yeah.
And
Not in West Bengal state.
huh?
Not in West Bengal state.
Not in West Bengal, but I had written an article on Daily Control for this. See, you can actually go for a 154 against that that order which says that you need to pay this much of amount, because against that order you cannot directly appeal under CIT appeals, because there are lists of orders against only you can appeal under CIT appeals. So within 6 months your assessing officer has to dispose of your 154 petition. Against that order you can appeal under the CIT.
What is 154?
Rectification. Mistake apparent on record. There is a mistake apparent on record. The reason being, in the provision it clearly says that you have to recover that fees before filing of your TDS return. Once you have filed your TDS return, NSDL has accepted it, you have got the acknowledgement. Now there is no provision under the Act to demand fees under 234E. That's a mistake apparent on record. So you can file 154 for rectification.
Means even I believe the software also doesn't support something after this. The
TDS
NSDL software, the latest upgrade, maybe that support. Earlier there was no provision. There were no provisions to even choose.
2 days back, CBDT has come up with a standard procedure for rectification of TDS return, because they have got many complaints.
Yeah, I'm talking of 3 months ago.
So
That's-
2 days back,
okay.
they have come up with various ways wherein you can rectify your, because there are various. See, if it's because late filing of TDS return, then 154 is only option if your High Court has not stayed it. But I think very soon it will go to Supreme Court or the government will do something. Then you can actually rectify your TDS return online on NSDL website. They have started this 2 days back.
A few things, not all rectifications.
There were a few limitations. Yes,
Those
there
are
were a few
basically
limitations.
for wrong TAN number, wrong PAN number. those things. But for fees for late filing, there is no option. And initially, who have paid out of fear, because there was no incidence of those things initially 2-3 months back, and clients have paid it because they thought that let's pay it and then close it. But who have not paid it and would get benefit now.
If not, then
I
assessing
don't think it will
default.
be
Refund is not.
This is like Delhi government.
Again, assessing default is there, but if you just reply that I